sun had barely started to rise over the quiet streets of a small California town, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Jenna Miller, a 23-year-old woman with a troubled past, had been running for months. Life on the streets had hardened her, but she had learned to survive, moving from one abandoned warehouse to another, always one step ahead of danger. Yet, nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to face that morning. It all started when Jenna wandered near the edge of the Sacramento River, a place locals warned about, but one she had grown familiar with in her daily search for safety. That morning, the air was thick with mist, and the water glistened like a sheet of silver. She had just settled on a rock to catch her breath when she heard a scream that sliced through the silence, a scream so desperate it made her heart race. Instinct overrode caution. Without thinking, Jenna ran toward the sound, her sneakers slipping on the wet riverbank. Ahead, she saw a struggle. A woman was caught under a partially submerged, overturned boat, thrashing in the water, her face pale, eyes wide with panic. Jenna's instincts screamed at her to call for help, but there was no one around. Her heart pounded, every second mattered. Without hesitation, Jenna dove into the freezing water. The current was strong, and the overturned boat made it nearly impossible to reach the woman. Every movement felt like swimming through cement, but Jenna refused to give up. She gripped the woman's arm, pulling her out from beneath the boat. The woman's face was streaked with water and mud, her breathing shallow and panicked. Jenna realized the boat had pinned her down for far too long for most people to survive. Time slowed as Jenna fought the river, the woman clinging to her. She pushed against the current with all her strength, dragging the unconscious woman toward the shore. Her arms ached, her lungs burned, but she didn't stop. Minutes felt like hours. When they finally reached the shallow edge, Jenna's hands were raw and her body trembled from the cold and exertion. The woman coughed violently, sputtering water as she gasped for air. Jenna held her tight, whispering encouragements she barely felt. And then recognition hit. This wasn't just any woman. The leather jacket, the tattoo on her wrist, it was Angelica, the wife of one of the most notorious Hells Angels in the West Coast chapter. Jenna froze for a moment, realizing the magnitude of what she had just done. She had just saved a woman tied to the world she had always feared, the dangerous, unpredictable world of the Hells Angels. And in that moment, standing soaked and trembling on the riverbank, Jenna knew that nothing in her life would ever be the same. The ripple effect of this one brave act would soon pull her into a family she never imagined she could belong to. Jenna stood on the riverbank, dripping wet and shivering, as Angelica gasped and coughed back the water that had threatened to claim her life. The realization that she had just saved the wife of a Hells Angel sank in slowly, sending a chill through her even stronger than the icy river water. She expected anger, threats, or at least suspicion, but instead, Angelica reached out and held her hands tightly, whispering, "Thank you, you saved my life." The sound of engines broke the early morning calm. From the road leading to the riverbank, a convoy of motorcycles appeared, their growling engines announcing their arrival. Jenna's heart skipped. These were the West Coast AFFA, the Hells Angels' most feared chapter. Men with leather jackets, tattoos, and a reputation that made law enforcement nervous in towns across California were now watching her every move. She braced herself for judgment or violence, certain that she had crossed a line she couldn't come back from. Instead, something unexpected happened. Angelica's husband, a towering man known as Colt Ironhand Ramirez, dismounted and approached Jenna. His eyes, sharp and assessing, studied her with an intensity that could intimidate even the bravest. "You saved her," he said simply, his voice calm but commanding. "Not many would have done what you just did." Jenna swallowed hard, trying to steady herself. I didn't think. She was drowning, I just..." Colt held up a hand. "It doesn't matter why. You acted when it counted. That's what matters to us." Over the next few minutes, Jenna watched as the Hells Angels checked on Angelica, the tension in the air easing with each exchanged nod and word. What amazed her most was the way they treated each other, not just with fearsome strength, but loyalty and respect. And now, that same loyalty was being extended to her, the runaway girl who had risked everything for a stranger. "You've got courage," Colt said, finally addressing her again. "We take care of our own. If you want to stay with us, you're welcome. But know this, once you're in, there's no turning back." Jenna hesitated. A part of her wanted to flee, as she always had. Life on the run was all she knew, But another part of her, the part that had jumped into the river without thinking, felt a strange pull. She nodded. I want to stay. Colt's expression softened, almost imperceptibly, and he extended his hand. Jenna took it, shaking firmly, sealing a pact she never imagined she would make. From that moment on, she was part of something larger, a family bound not by blood, but by loyalty, courage, and shared survival. As the morning sun climbed higher, Jenna realized that her life had changed forever. The river had been the line between the world she had fled and the world she was about to embrace. She had gone from a runaway with nothing to a valued member of the AFFA family, a world where loyalty and courage defined every bond. And deep down, she knew that no matter the danger, she had finally found where she belonged.